Hi friends, today I'm going to discuss unlevered beta and levered beta. Okay, so capital structure consists of capital structure consists of equity and debt. So levered beta is what? Beta is the risk. So levered beta talks about the risk when debt is there in our capital structure. Fine. So what is unlevered beta? Unlevered beta is the risk without the debt component. It strips out the effect of the debt component in our capital structure. Fine. Unlevered beta is also known as asset beta. It is the total beta of the company without taking into consideration the debt component. Its benefit or even its demerits are not considered in the capital structure when we calculate unlevered beta. So unlevered beta takes into consideration the debt component. So what do you mean by unlevered beta? Like this. See, levered unlevering levered beta means what? Means taking out the debt components from the capital structure and taking account its effect. Okay, so why and where unlevered beta is used? It helps the investors. See, there only equity components are there in unlevered beta, so it helps the investors in taking decision regarding the investment in stocks. Okay, so now there is a formula. There is a formula. Unlevered beta is equal to, see, this is as a whole without taking into consideration the debt component. So in a company there are two components, equity as well as debt are there. So beta for equity plus risk for our debt. Fine, but we have to multiply this by value of equity divided by total capital. It means that we have to find out the weights. This is the beta for equity, so we have to find out the weights for equity. So the equity divided by total capital. Total capital consists of equity plus debt. Here as well it will be like this is the beta for debt, so the weights will be debt divided by equity plus debt, value of equity plus value of debt. But generally in most of the case unlevered beta is equal to these levered beta or a bit lesser than this. Fine. Why? How it gets equal to? On this side we are taking into consideration only the equity component, but on this side we have taken the equity component as well as debt component, but still it gets equal. How? Why? Because in most of the cases, like almost you can say, risk of debt is what? 0. That's why this completely gets 0 and this becomes equal to this. Okay, I hope till here it's clear. So now there's a simple example. I'm going to solve it. The question is, value of equity is 60 lakhs, value of equity is 60 lakhs, value of debt is 40 lakhs. Okay, and equity beta has been given. Equity beta has been given as 1.5. So now putting this into the formula, we are going to get here it will be asset beta, or you can say unlevered beta. Unlevered means without debt. Unlevered beta is equal to equity beta, which has been given as 1.5 multiplied by weights of equity is 60 divided by 60 plus 40 total capital 100 lakhs plus see in the question the risk for debt has not been given, so we will always assume it 0 until and unless it has been not been provided in the question. Okay, so 0 multiplied by 40 divided by 100, so this becomes 0. So this, after solving this, we are going to get 1.5 multiplied by 60 divided by 100. So unlevered beta is coming 0.9. Okay. Now coming to the practice manual, there is a question number 47. In the chapter number 13, merger, acquisition and restructuring, there is a question number 47. I am going to read it. ABC, a large business house, is planning to sell its wholly owned subsidiary KLM. Interrupt this. It has been given that there is an entity ABC which has a wholly owned subsidiary KLM. ABC, wholly owned subsidiary KLM. There is another entity XYZ which intends to acquire this KLM, because it thinks that after acquisition KLM profit will increase by 10%. Other information has been given. Profit after tax for KLM has been given 10 crores. KLM's after tax profit has an increasing trend. It means its growth 7%. RF and RM has been given. RM is 10%, RF is 4%. Now, the question is asking, we are required to calculate appropriate cost of equity for KLM based on the data available for the proxy entity. See, there's a column where the data has been given for XYZ, ABZ and proxy entity. For KLM, no data has been given, so we are going to take into consideration the data for proxy entity and we are going to find out. So what has been asked? Cost of equity for KLM. So putting CAPM formula, what is the formula for cost of equity? RF plus beta. This is cost of equity. So here the beta will be of equity, RM minus RF. Okay. So RF is here 10%, 4%, RM is 10%. So 4 plus beta equity 10 minus 4, 4 plus 6 beta equity. In the data which has been given for proxy entity, dividend payout ratio has been given, debt equity ratio has been given, PE ratio and equity beta. See, beta equity has been given. I forgot to tell you one thing, like the formula was unlevered beta is equal to equity beta and weights, isn't it? So what is this? Isn't it like a debt equity ratio sort of, you can say, like we can say that this beta depends upon its weight, or you can say it depends upon debt equity ratio. Okay, so equity beta has been given for the proxy entity, but equity beta depends upon what? Weights of equity and debt, or you can say debt equity ratio, isn't it? So we cannot put the equity beta, we cannot take the equity beta of proxy entity as equity beta for KLM. We have to find out the unlevered beta, because unlevered beta will be same for the company operating in the same line of business. So unlevered beta. So one more thing, whenever there will be debt, we have to do it after tax. So unlevered beta is equal to, what is the formula? Equity beta has been given for the proxy entity as 1.1 multiplied by debt equity ratio has been given, 1 by 4. So equity is 4 divided by this plus this, 4 plus 1, but debt has to be after tax, 1 minus t, and tax rate is, I'll do it next step, 4 by 4 plus 1, 1 minus 0.3, so this will come to be 4 by 4.7. So after solving 1.1 into 4 divided by 4.7, it is coming out to be 0.9362. Now this is the value for unlevered beta for the proxy entity. Fine, and we want equity beta. So equity beta will be same as of ABC. Equity beta depends upon the debt equity ratio, and debt equity ratio will be considered for which? ABC, because KLM is the wholly owned subsidiary of ABC. So taking the debt equity ratio of ABC and unlevered beta value from the proxy entity, we are going to find out the equity beta. So again, taking the data of ABC, in the same formula we are going to put unlevered beta is equal to, equity beta has been given 1.1 multiplied by, we are going to find equity beta, isn't it, for the KLM. Equity beta multiplied by debt equity ratio for ABC is 1:3, so here it will be 3, this is equity, 3 plus 1 and 1 minus 0.3. So it will, unlevered beta, taking the value of unlevered beta from here, 0.9362 is equal to equity beta multiplied by 3 by 3.7. After solving, we are going to get 0.9362 multiplied by 3.7 divided by 3. It is coming 1.1546. So now we have got equity beta. So now we have to put the value of equity beta from, we have to take the value of equity beta from here and we have to put it here. So we are going to get 4 plus 6 multiplied by 1.1546. So it is coming out to be 6 into 1.1546 plus 4. 10.9276. 10.9276. Which is equivalent to 10.93%. Now, the question is asking a range of values. We are required to calculate a range of values for KLM both before and after any potential synergetic benefits to XYZ of the acquisition. It is asking that whether any potential synergistic benefits is going to occur to XYZ of the acquisition or not. We have to calculate this value. So in the table, two data has been given, dividend payout ratio and PE ratio. So we are going to use those data for this question. Using a PE model first. Pre-synergistic, and here it is post-synergistic. Fine. Now PE value is given. after acquisition, it will goes to the KLM entity will go, the subsidiary, wholly owned subsidiary, that is KLM, will go to XYZ. So at once we will take the using XYZ and proxy, because no data has been given for KLM. Okay, so for proxy, pre-synergetic value using PE model. PE has been given for proxy is 12, and for XYZ it has been given as 10 profit earning ratio. Okay, so this, now what is PAT for KLM? It has been given 10 crores. So here it will be 10 multiply, here it will be also 10. So it is coming 120 crores and here 100 crores. But now it is talking about post synergistic value. So this will be same, this PAT will be same, but there is an information that after acquisition, this is talking about post. So after acquisition, this PAT will going to increase by 10%. So multiplied by 1.1, or you can directly do one thing, multiply 1.1 by this. So it is coming out to be 130 crores, and here it will come as 110 crores. Okay, I'm going to write 10 multiplied by 10 multiplied by 1.1. Fine. So now coming to the dividend payout model. Dividend payout ratio has been given for the proxy entity, which is 50%, and for XYZ it is 40%. Dividend payout, proxy and XYZ. PAT is here also pre-synergistic and here post synergistic. Fine. PAT is 10 crores. Here payout ratio is for 50% and here it is 40%. Multiplied by 50%, here 10 multiplied by 40%. But see, this is dividend valuation model, and what is the formula for that? D1 by KE minus G. D1 is for after 1 year now. So we have to multiply it by growth factor. Growth factor has been given 7%. So we have to multiply it by 1.07. Here it also gets multiplied by 1.07. In the first part of the question, we have found out cost of equity, that comes to be 10.93, I guess. Yes. So 0.1093 minus growth is 0.07. 0.1093 minus 0.07. Okay, this is for pre. We are going to solve this. Five 35 5.35. For post, it will be 10 crores multiplied by 50% multiplied by 1.07, plus this will get increased by 10%, so 1.1 again divided by the same. So I am directly writing its value. Here 10 multiplied by 40% multiplied by 1.07 multiplied by 1.1 divided by 0.0393. It comes out to be 149.75 crores, and here it is coming out 119.801 crores. So now I forgot one thing. There one more data has been given, the market price. So we are going to take that as well. See, market price data has been given for XYZ and ABC. Since no information has been given for KLM, so we will take the data of ABC. Okay, so market value, PAT has been given, sorry, number of shares has been given for ABC and current share price has been given. So market value will be market value of ABC. Okay, ABC, number of shares multiplied by market price per share, that comes out to be 80 lakhs multiplied by 375. So it is 80 into 375, 30,000 lakhs. This is for ABC. But now see, first we will find out the post tax earning. This is coming out to be market value. This is the market value. So post tax earning will be market value divided by PE ratio. PE ratio is, for ABC it has been given as 13. So PAT will come as 2307.6923, approximating it to be 23.08 crores. Okay. Now see, this is the PAT, post tax earnings of ABC as a whole. For finding out the dividing, we have to divide it into particularly ABC and for KLM wholly owned subsidiary. So we have to do one thing. We have to, where is that? Wait. We are considering about its we are considering its market value now. So the market value is coming to be 30,000 as a whole. So we have to bifurcate it into the value of post earning. So KLM's post earning, we are trying to find out the value for KLM now, isn't it? This 10 is for KLM, this 10 is for KLM. Only the this is different just because we are taking here the value of proxy, which is like before acquisition, and after that when it gets merged to XYZ, such and such will happen. So here KLM's post earning would be, this is coming out to be 30,000 lakhs, which means 300 crores multiplied by, see, post tax earnings is 23.08, which is as a whole. So divided by 23.08, and what is the PAT for KLM? 10 crores. So we will multiply it by 10 crores. Here we are applying unitary method, isn't it? Like for the as a whole, the market value is 300 crores. So we have to find out the market value for 300 crores. This is not post tax earning. We are finding out. We are finding out market value. See, the 300 crore is as a whole, and 20. We have been given the data of post tax earnings for KLM, that is 10 crores, and we have find it out from here. We have found out the post tax earnings of ABC as a whole. So we are going to, by applying this formula, divided by the whole market value divided by whole post tax earnings multiplied by KLM's post tax earning, we are going to split it, okay, and we are going to get KLM's market value, which comes out to be 300 multiplied by 10 divided by 23.08, 129.9826 crores, approximating it 130 crores. Fine. Also, you can see that the PAT for KLM has been given as 10 crores and market value for KLM is coming out to be 130 crore. So what will be the PE value of KLM? 130 crores. PE is market value divided by post-tax earning, isn't it? Post-tax earning. So 130 crores divided by 10 crores, it is coming out to be 13, which is the exactly the PE ratio of ABC, which has been given as 13. Fine. So now the range of valuation is coming. Wait. We got the value in PE valuation. We got the value for pre, post. In pre it was 120 and 100 crores, and for post it was 132 and 110 crores. In dividend valuation model, it was for pre 136.13, 108.91, and here it was 149.75, 119.79. So the range of valuation would be range of valuation pre-synergistic and post synergistic. For pre, 100 to 136.13 crores, and for post it comes out to be 110 crore to 149.75 crores. The market value has been 130 crores. Fine. Here we have got to 130 crore, the market value of KLM. I hope I made this question a bit clear. In case of any doubt or query, you can tell me in the comment section. Okay, thank you so much.